everybody. Mr. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I said it three times that time. Want to say good evening and welcome to the show. We got Joe and Kamala interview coming up later on, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, a lot of you folks on CP time, I'm going to go ahead and get started and they can catch me a little later. To those people that's over here on YouTube, what's happening? How you doing? Well, as always, I want to say good evening and welcome to the show. As always, I humbly thank you for spending your Thursday night with me. And watching myself and critiquing myself, one of the things was it dawned on me that I never introduced myself. A lot of my old Facebook audience know me because we're connected via Facebook, friends and family, that sort of thing. But as my audience started to expand, somebody said, well, you didn't say who you were. I said, oh, I never really thought about that. So I'm going to change a couple things in the format. First of all, I'm Hank Batiste. I'm your host. My government, Gubment, my government name is Henry Batiste, a.k.a. Sanrique Batista Esquire. Because somewhere back in high school, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer and a doctor. So I assumed the Esquire in my Spanish personality. I'm also known as the Renaissance Man, or Rennie for short. So I have all of these monikers. My show is actually called I Got Something to Say, So It Must Be True. I've been running strong for about 18 months now, and damn it, I almost know what I'm doing now. If you look at some of my earlier stuff, it's like watching paint dry. So I'm coming into my own. I want to do some things as I develop the show, and I've been getting feedback from people that I know and some people that I meet along the way. Last Friday, I was walking along the beach taking some pictures, and I met a older gentleman, a white gentleman. I think he was 74, 75 years old, by the name of Keith. And Keith and I had a conversation. What drew my attention was he was wearing a Ben Carson 16 hat, which means he supported Ben Carson running in 2016. So we struck up a conversation, first talking about one thing, and then our conversation kind of drifted into politics. Because I like to focus on the things that we have in common and remind people that we have more things in common than a few things that separate us. The main thing that we all want is a calm, safe place where we can raise our families and enjoy life. So Keith and I was talking about that. I gave him a copy. I gave him a link to my YouTube podcast, and he went there. And after watching the podcast, he invited me to breakfast. I already had plans, but I plan to go back up there and connect with him. We have each other's numbers. I was kind of busy today. I wound up having to go to the VA and take care of some business. So I didn't get a chance to make some preemptive phone calls to some people that are kind of new to my podcast audience. So let me back up again, reintroduce myself. My name is Hank Batiste. I'm your host. My government, Gubment name is Henry Batiste. I'm named after my father, and so is my son. So there's three of us. It was so good we did it three times. I'm also known as Sir Enrique Batista Esquire, speak un poquito el español, and I'm also known as the Renaissance Man, Rennie for short. My show is called I Got Something to Say, So It Must Be True. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about tonight's show. There's so many subplots going on right now. So many things that are playing out in the news and live. Trump still has what I call this scorched the earth mentality. Like I said the last show, his mentality is, if I can't have it, I would rather burn it down. In short, his departure is just like every day of his administration. It's all about him. Now, the latest development is he's scared shitless. He wants to set a new precedence by preemptively issuing a plethora of pardons to everybody he's associated with. Him, his family, his accomplices. And did I say him? Himself? Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Am I going to pardon myself for something that I've not yet been accused of or convicted of? So we'll see how this play out. I want to talk about three things tonight. The first thing I want to talk about is I want to remind everyone that Joe and Kamala need your help. So if you live in Georgia, if you know someone that lives in Georgia, remind them. Make sure the name is still on the voting roster. Rumor has it that after Joe decisively won Georgia, some voters' names were purged from the polls or the rolls. The deadline for registering the vote is December the 5th. So you've got about a day and a half to get that done. Of course, the Senate election in Georgia is on January the 5th. So let's do what we have to do. Remind those folks that Joe and Kamala need their help. Get them out in Georgia. Let them do what they do so we can make that happen. Other thing I want to talk about is COVID and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving has come and gone, and we're tired of quarantining. We're tired of being alone. We're tired of the people that we're with. We're ready to kind of expand our horizons, so forth and so on. Folks, we've gotten a little too comfortable with COVID, and present company included. I'll admit, so have I. But damn it, I'm a superhero. Or so I think. And my back reminded me that I'm not. Lastly, I want to talk about how Despicable Donnie is acting and what comes next. What can we expect from him moving forward? So tonight's show is called A Plethora of Pardons. Let's get it on. Georgia, we need your vote. I said it before, I'm going to say it one more time. Who was the first one to call Donnie's actions a coup? Me. You damn Skippy, I did it. Sound like Lil Richie, yeah, I did it. I said it. Nobody give me credit. But I think when people have to respond to a board of directors and sponsors and what have you, they have to be careful what they say. I don't have any of those things holding me back. So I say what I feel. I say what I call a spade, no pun intended. Believe me when I tell you his attempted coup and Russian connections are the main reason that Trump wants a presidential pardon. Some of Despicable, and this is the thing that kind of blew me away. Yesterday, I saw some of Despicable Donnie's hardcore minions at a rally, and why they're still having rallies is beyond me. But they were at a rally and they were urging these people to boycott the January elections. Why would you say that? Why would you urge your voters, the Republicans, to boycott the elections? And it's simple. It's their way of trying to hold the Republican Party hostage for not supporting Despicable Donnie's coup. Folks, let me break this down for you. Number one, Mitch knows that Trump lost fair and square, but by not openly admitting the loss or his defeat, Moscow Mitch hopes he can get Donnie's followers out to show up at the polls on January the 5th in Georgia. Number two, Despicable is pissed to the utmost of pissosity because he's been kicked out of the White House. Mitch hasn't fully supported the way he wants him, so he wants to take his supporters like it's his ball. He wants to take his ball and leave the playground. In other words, he wants to take his supporters and leave the White House. Trump feels like, why should Mitch still remain in power if he's no longer president? I promise you, Donnie has pissed on the walls. He's pissed on the floor in the West Wing. He stole some White House towels, some White House silverware and dishes. Oh, he's acting a fool in there. He's been locked up for a month now? and doing nothing but tweeting. Go figure. If Trump can convince his supporters to stay at home, then he can hold the Republican Party hostage for an indefinite period of time after the inauguration when he is no longer president. He's going to try to stay relevant long enough to lead the ticket again in 2024. That's a long time, people. I say let them fight amongst themselves. Allow Joe and Kamala to have a progressive-friendly Senate, a House of Representatives, and a White House. Let's get some things done. Let's reverse some of this nonsense. Meanwhile, Moscow Mitch is working overtime to fill all empty positions, be it in D.C. or around the country. Now Obama is promoting his new book and politely saying some of the things that I've been screaming for the last year. Barack says it's time to integrate some of the young people in key leadership roles in the Democratic Party. Translation, Nancy, it's time to give up the goddamn gavel and get on. Should it be AOC? No, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why later. Everyone is yanking at Joe. They want to be included in decision-making roles in his administration. I talk about my organization, and I've been talking about doing this, and I finally decided to do it because we just had a plethora, and I guess that the word for the night is a plethora, or many, too many debts that caused this avalanche of what I call Black Lives Matter. So when I thought about my organization's mission statement, I came up with this. To be a progressive think tank and grassroots policy development vehicle that articulates the needs of the disenfranchised and underserved communities of Black people and the have-nots. For the longest time, I've been telling you simply, folks, this has never been a fight about black and white. It's always been about green, the haves versus the have-nots. I want to also partner with Native Americans, Hispanics. I want to partner with LGBTQs and other organizations and help give them a voice. Not that they need my organization, but I think it's high time that we see true inter-ethnic cohesiveness and unity. That's just my vision. So moving forward, I'll work hard to make it happen. And I've already taken some steps. When it comes to civil rights, what I've noticed, history teaches us, America always starts with Black people. Then they adopt these same programs to other protected groups. My rationale for this, I think, is this is the closest that we, as descendants of former slaves, will ever get to our promised 40 acres and a mule or any type of reparations. Biden is trying, or so it seems he's trying to compose a cabinet that more closely resembles the demographic makeup of America. This is something that Despicable Donnie never did, never even considered. Family, I'm gonna need a minute. I want to tell you a secret. I have serious trust issues, and it's my mama's fault. When I was a youngster, my mom put some castor oil and some orange juice, and she didn't tell me. She said, "Here, drink your juice." And I said, "Mama, this ain't no orange juice." It scarred me for life. I said all of this to say this. The cat is out the bag. The Republicans know that Dems vote early, and the Republicans still cheat. They still cheat. So I don't trust them. That's the political castor oil and the orange juice. Mission them, that's what I said, mission them, are fighting for their lives in the Senate. So I wouldn't put anything past them. Desperate people do desperate things. So just remind you of that. I said what I said. I know that some people are voting early. I know that I've heard that some people have been purged from the rolls. So I'm just saying, let's just be prepared for anything. Let's give Joe and Kamala the best chance they have of being successful. Why? And I'll tell you some things as we go on. It's time, people. It's time. COVID has worn us out. I can't ignore this. I know we're tired of hearing about it. We've had an entire year of quarantining, wearing masks, and distancing from those who we love. As a result, we have this fatigue and we're taking unnecessary chances. One of my friends just called in to let me know that she's been diagnosed as having COVID. So I'm still hearing of people almost on a weekly, sometimes a daily basis, or every other day of people that I personally know that have been affected. And meanwhile, I'm playing dodge the ball. I feel like Neo in, what was that? The Matrix. I'm just dodging it. And I do my best to keep my immune system ready for whatever comes at me. And I'll urge you to do the same. What we're starting to see is the fallout from Thanksgiving travelers. It's evident in the rise in the number of new cases. As of today, there's more than 100,000 people that are being hospitalized for complications of COVID. 100,000 people nationwide. It don't sound like a lot when you think about it nationwide, but just think about that. In a lot of communities, that's more beds, that's more ICU beds than most hospital systems can handle. And that could be 11 hospitals in a hospital system. So I just heard something earlier that in the state of California, they're down to like 100 ICU beds left. That's in the entire state. And I had to play it back because it's mind-boggling. Folks, at this rate, if we keep up the current pace, we're going to surpass 300,000 deaths by the end of this year. And that's just the people that have been properly diagnosed with complications of COVID. There are a lot of people that have not been diagnosed. There are a lot of people that are sick and have been given another diagnosis because, for whatever reason, political aspirations or just misdiagnosis. I don't know. All I know is that's a hell of a way to end the year and start off 2021. I urge you, I plead with you, keep your family gatherings to a minimum. I miss my daughter and my grandkids so bad, but I'm just thinking about it. If I've been dodging this bullet for this long and I travel somewhere and I give something to someone, I won't be able to forgive myself. I say if we sacrifice a large family gathering this Christmas, then Big Mama and Big Papa and those of you with pre-existing conditions will be here to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas in 2021 and 2022 and 2023 and beyond. So folks, I said it before and I truly mean it. We beat the bully. I know we can beat COVID, but it's going to take a concerted effort of sacrifices and a group effort from us all. My Creole powers. Here's where I make some predictions moving into 2021. Many say that Despicable Don's lack of COVID management cost him the election. I don't think so. I personally think it was a culmination of all of his hate mongering, his exclusionary policies, and his narcissistic bullying, combined with his disdain for the law and the Constitution. And short, Trump wanted to be like Putin. He wanted to be like Woodrow Wilson, and he stole a lot for Ronald Reagan, all in one. So where do we go from here? So much is riding on Biden being successful in the first 2 years. Why? Because a couple things are going to happen as of January 2021. As Biden takes ownership of the White House, he's also going to be saddled with the power struggle that's going on in the Democratic Party between some of the old heads, the moderates, the middle of the road people, the extremists, and what I call the progressives. Elizabeth Warren wants to prop herself up to be the senior progressive leader, but the progressive neophytes are not having that. AOC ain't having it. My prediction is if Nancy does not pass the gavel and the Dems do not come together in the first 12 to 14 months, they will lose control of the House. They've already lost seats in the 2020 elections. If they do not get their act together in the first 12 to 14 months, they will lose control of the House and maybe the Senate as well. We have a little bit more time with the Senate. If that happens, we can look for a new Paul Ryan type to take over as Speaker of the House, Republican. Then we're really going to have some problems. Now you can kind of see how all of this is connected and why Joy and Kamala need a Democratic Senate. The senators are elected for 6 years. The representative only served for 2 years, which means when most of them are elected, within 6 months, they're back on a campaign trail trying to get reelected. That gives them a short period of time to try to make some moves. So in that first 8 months, we can look for some serious power struggles. It is what it is. Got to call a spade a spade. Now back to COVID. There's a vaccine. If that vaccine were to become available in January, 2 things would happen. I predict my strong Creole powers. First of all, I predict that the vaccine will selectively be distributed to healthier people to maximize its efficiency and success. It just doesn't make sense to give it to people that have all of these pre-existing conditions and it be a failure coming right out the gate. So I feel strong about that prediction. My second prediction with COVID vaccine is a lot of people, present company included, will be very skeptical of any new vaccine until they see how it affects other people first, that first group. Even though Knucklehead, we call him Despicable Donnie. I call him Despicable Donnie. I call him Trumple Thin Skin. I call him the Orange Menace. I call him, so many different things. But even though he's not attended any of the planning sessions and he's ignored this virus, he wants his name to be on the vaccine. You know what I say? Fuck out of here. That would be the figurative and literal kiss of death for any marketing drug. I can't see Pfizer or any other company doing that. I just can't. If they put his name on it, I take the vaccine just so I could sue him. In 5 years, when we're watching late at night and they talk about this new vaccine causes depression, hair loss, and insomnia, I'll be standing at the front of the line saying, I'm depressed as hell. Another prediction. I keep talking about turning the page in my organization. So that's where I'm headed next year. If you're waiting for Despicable Donnie to go away, don't hold your breath. My analysis is he'll try to buy his own media network or hijack Fox. Problem is, Fox is going to start to lose ratings with 24 hours of a has-been Donnie. and they'll soon move on. The what they call itself, Republicans. I call them reps, the Repubs, and a couple other names. But the Republicans, on the other hand, will slowly try to integrate the Trumpies and the Trumpettes. His despicable behind is going to try. Let's get this, 4 years. He can go 4 days without being the center of attention. Can you imagine this man sitting in the wings for 4 years, waiting on 2024? So he's going to be a thorn in their side. Maybe he'll get the mental health. Maybe he'll get the mental health that he needs. But I doubt it because he'll never admit it. Look for him to pardon everybody from Hair Dye Rudy to Lindsey the Louse Graham to the Trump mini-me's and himself. As for him being able to pardon himself, if any president ever earned an orange jumpsuit, it would be the despicable one. But I don't think that'll be necessary, simply because I can't see either party, be it the Democrats or Republicans or independents for that matter, wanting to set a precedent of an outgoing president being convicted in jail. So the chance of that happening is slim to none. If we win the 2 Georgia seats in the Senate, Joe will have a good, but not great first 2 years, and the progressive will become more seasoned, and hopefully they'll work with other Dems to get things done. But it's not a perfect world, people. Look for the power-hungry neophytes in the Democratic Party to fight tooth and nail for control, especially in the first 8 months. Why? Because most of them only have 2 years. Fox News is going to exploit every weakness, every fight, every inter-party struggle between the Dems, be it the progressives and the this ones and the haves and the have-nots and so forth and so on. If that happens, if they lose the House, I'm hoping I'm wrong. But remember, you heard it first here. So when Chris Cuomo said, when Don Lemon said, when Rachel Maddow said, yo, my man said that. Kind of know what he's talking about. He got strong Creole powers, all of the above. Folks, I wanted to make it short. I wanted to make it sweet. I wanted to cut it right here. That's all I got for you tonight. I want to go over those predictions one more time before I let you go. I said these first 2 years, the first 12 months, really the first 8 months are going to be the hardest for Biden. If we get those 2 seats in the Senate, it'll make it a lot easier. But he's still going to have an uphill battle. I hope that I'm wrong. I really hope that I'm wrong. But when I look at AOC and those other neophytes calling themselves progressives, I see them so hungry. Young people want it now. They don't want to wait their turn. They want it now. And I can see those inter-party struggles starting to amass and show and rear their ugly heads. So look for that in the first 8 months. As for Donnie, I don't see him being quiet for 4 days, less on 4 years. Let's keep it together. Folks, that's all I got for you tonight. I want you to go to my YouTube channel if you're not already there. I see some of my people already there. I appreciate you peoples. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, click the bell. Pretty soon going into 2021, I'm going to start taking the show from Facebook and moving it to YouTube. It's just a natural progression because I'm going to go to some other platforms as well. As I get better with this, I'll expand my audience. And I think the best way to do that is to move to greener pastures. As always, important, I'll see you next week, same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I love you. And I love you too. So, folks, As always, imparting love, peace, hair grease. I got something to say. So you know it must be true. I'm out of here, people. Y'all be good. Check out Joe and Kamala. I think they're coming around at 9. So peace. Mm.